Oh, hey man, it's good to see you.
You close your eyes and dream of the shapes your body should form to bring this strange music into life. For now, such ferocity of motion is beyond you.
But just imagine the moves you could pull to this futuristic beat.
Goodbye, officer.
Welcome back.
You got us in, cop. I can't believe you got us in.
With wonder in his sharp eyes.
Between you and me, I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I'm a little suspicious of authority. But you really came through for the hardcore underground.
Yes, you really came through for the hardcore underground. How come?
Andre is busy cutting some slightly less lame, but still quite ungainly shapes on the church floor, sweating profusely. Estelle using her contact mic to listen to a tree underwater. The one with the large head is blasting the dance track on repeat, while the stained glass window behind him is rattling from the bass.
Okay.
What he means is, you're right, actually. The tent was a safety hazard, and this place was deserted anyway.
It's a miracle of carpentry. Their bodies carved into total shapes. Now it can be something more. I don't say much anything as a carpenter anymore. They tried to make me into a reckoner and a leveller. Made me a bit manic, you know. I regret the time I dedicated to that profession and that worker collective. I say things more as a member of the hardcore side dance community these days. The material knowledge is mega though. Guild shit. Teaches independence. That's right. The first settlers built it, plus 6 more like it, on the coast here. Was one of the first things they did. Must have been really scared of something, but I understand. Alone on an uninhabited archipelago, forced to face themselves and nature. Pre-industrial quantities of solitude. The sea, perhaps something more fundamental.
He means something paranatural. He must...
I would want to build a safe place for myself and my own as well. Maybe they were unable to face the nature of the world, perishing. A cop who's into building critique. Okay then, this is folk DeLoreanism, lawmongerer. It's a subset of early DeLorean architecture. Art of core. Total. Everything between an ancient concrete cathedral and a glass cube is DeLoreanism. This is just an homespun version of it. Folksy stuff. Early mass production. They made thousands like this. Does that help you out? Like that woman there. Vertical, thin, white, a false image of grandeur. The source of the system is up there. You're at the bottom. They really dug that power vertical. Like to show off large and intricate structures. Arches, spires, put you down with them. They were really into painting everything white too. Virginal shit, you know. Marriage shit. Virtue and tyranny. Stands to reason it used to be white on the outside, before the sea wind took all the paint off.
Year after year, flake after flake, whitewashed clean, then covered in green moss.
Dead bodies of perennial plants. Sigma functions have left this place. It's a good thing we came along. The spiritual collapse has been total. I saw some piglets suckling their dead mother. Have you heard this one, Copman? After a short while, they shuddered and went away. They had sensed that she could no longer see them, and that she wasn't like them anymore. What they loved in their mother weren't her body, but whatever it was that made her body live. End of quote. This is an high-quality carcass. The power of anodic beats and hard bass is needed to reanimate it. A 3,000-year-old tyrannical regime of history, built and maintained by hundreds of generations of self-appointed intellectuals. It's false core.
The way he says it, the force in false core, is invested with 20 kilotons of disgust.
I only said unity. One word. Figures of authority always misquote you. Andre doesn't care about the Ecclesiastes. He just wants the operation to run smoothly. And Egg is a demi-beast. You shouldn't listen to what people say. You should listen to what they are. But were you wrong? The founding party is okay with everything. Look around. They don't have enough love for the human crew to oppose anything anymore. We're on our own.
That's still a lie. Reassert yourself.
Well,
Noid, man! Mellow out! Stop aggroing the law!
I'm sorry. Anodic dance music. Regular, I don't. Fuck are giving me the evil eye. I didn't know it was in here. We have to get rid of it. Dismantle it. Can't dance with a giant mass murderer looking at ya. Not a good look for the club.
Mellow, man! Mellow! No one's a mass murderer. This is a house of love. Mass murder on the floor!
The world spirit does not have a body. It has organs. Hardcore is an organ of the world spirit. This Arno van Eyck track is an organ. The carpentry and glass cutting that built this house.
What a strange choice of words. Caustic, overflowing with negativity. That can't be healthy. What's happening here? Why do you keep coming back to this window? But it isn't, and you shouldn't come back to this anymore. This should be the last time. Stop talking about that damn window.
Hard to say, Copman. Signs in here are distinctly wild. Gonna take a while before everything's properly synced. I did get to talk to the crabman though. Anyway, he's been giving me kind of a psychic rundown of this place. Dude's seen some crazy shit, but he's actually a lot like us. Have you been listening to what Egg's been saying? Love is hardcore, man. And the mother's love is the hardest core of all. The man picks up on stuff. And he knows a lot about the church. I got a lot to learn from him. Good thing you didn't squash him.
Yes, what is it?
lorry abandoned by its own. The smell of there's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating, voila, a stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachol. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen.
Bonne prise.
This large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. It looks like there are scant few ways of getting onto the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. This municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath a sub-district called the Pox, old military hospital, right adjacent to the 41st precinct. No storm will ever drown Revachol, the great solution to the riddle of history. The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of Motorway 881. A few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. Looks like the smugglers have infiltrated the road network belonging to East Motor Tract.
So it would seem. The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them. Hard to say. This distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Besmerti behind it. It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere on Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. Here's bad news. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi is a brave man for saying Madre's name without the winces and whispers that usually accompany it.
Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick these up later.
The stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie stars look silently by, and the pull-out toolbox has a rubber handle, worn from years of use. You close the rusty and old monuments. The woman looked. The file cabinet stands hundreds, and the same. You already went through all of these. The drawer slides shut smoothly. The already familiar. The already familiar cold touch of plastic welcomes you.
The Coppernado is back. What do you want?
Your local law
Yeah. We'll send some. God. Poor
Hey, wasn't Everard's B team looking for her the other day? They said something about her, I don't know, finding something?
Yeah. I think you're right, Gene. She have something of yours, Pig.
Whatever you do, do not admit to these punks you lost your gun. You will...
No? Well, whatever then, Copper.
No. They totally said what it was. What was it? Anyone remember?
I don't remember. I was fucking drunk.
Let me know if you figure it out back there. Now, anything else we can help you with? No.
Sure enough, we're the real heroes.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
What have you found? And also, do buy the books. There may... Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Some of these old paperbacks just don't have the durability. I would be happy to sell you another one, but unfortunately, it's the last copy we had in stock. A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
The narrative she's built herself, it does need tearing down. Just don't say you don't have any answer yet. The uncertainty is killing her. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire. You've come this far, you know how to end it. There is an entity behind the entity.
Oh, how horrid! I knew something wasn't right about that place. Tell me, did you find a way to break the curse? Of course. I trust my Seminese wards and charms kept you safe while you perform the ancient rites. All that matters is that the energies are retreating. I can already feel the curse lifting. It will be a long time until we're fully free of it, of course, but still. Thank you, officer. Truly, you've brought a better psycho-emanation to this humble bookstore, and that's no small achievement.
She so badly wants this to be over. She would have believed anything. It will only last a day or two, a week tops. Then her mood will sour and she will feel the curse again.
All right then. All's well that ends well. Should we return to our ordinary lives?
What's on your mind? The Crabman's been lurking here for a while. He's experienced things. Things that give off bad signs. As far as we can tell, the Ubies built this place about 320 years ago as a sarcophagus. not like a literal sarcophagus. I'm just being metaphorical. Encasement, confinement of something they were afraid of. Something new and unheard of on the Isla. I think that's what the crabman is experiencing when he climbs around upstairs. Like, this is some old world shit the Ubies had heard about. I thought the best way to deal with it was to build a church surrounding it to contain it. I don't know, and it's not something they properly understood either, what it does, but it's what this Sona person is looking for and trying to measure. It'll be fruitless though. She won't be able to measure it. People like that always want to measure everything. All those things they really can't. Seems to be the trend around here, doesn't it? You can't measure shit like this. It's not like substance. Like a concentric ring spreading out, the struggling villages. And that is what caused the communards to fail in defending the beachhead. Yeah, a lot of failure has gone down around here. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. It's not a thing we can answer, Copman. Even I have limits. I'm a limited size person. Maybe you can figure things out, Copman. I think we got on a good level here. The signs are syncing up well. Dead body, spirit entered. What is there to talk of? A mass murderer? Why? I like this question, Copman. She did not live the life of a human. She lived like someone who's playing a game. The life of an operator. That's not the life that humans live. She was adored. Humans aren't. I don't know about you, but they hate me. And they do not think I'm innocent or some shit like that. Yes.
This speed freak does not quite understand the sudden escalation of emotion in that argument, but he agrees nonetheless.
Humanism leads to eating sugar and pigs. Humanism was invented to mass-produce billions of humans. Billions of humans can mass-produce hundreds of billions of pigs.
And many, many more tons of sugar.
She liked games. Her legacy, the thing we live in, isn't real life. It's a strategy for some kind of victory against a long-dead opponent. But, yo, I'm only annoyed. What do I know? No one says Arno van Eyck is a mass murderer. The anodic pioneer Rietveld is not a mass murderer. He is not accused of mass murder. Likewise, no one says Jermaine Egghead or Andre are mass murderers. You can live entirely outside that suspicion. Billions of people go about not being guilty of mass murder. There is. She is a party repellent and must be taken down before we can begin partying in here. Will do.
No, Noid! Stop twisting my melon, man! People are gonna love it. It'll be our thing. Plus it keeps the cold out.
Okay. Sure. Suspicious people are esoteric people. We don't go around spilling everything to Johnny Law. They don't call me Noid for nothing. It took us setting out for this whole enterprise to get our signs synced. It's short for paranoid. A reasonable question. Say I get hurt. I want to make sure it never happens again. So I analyse the situation. Exercise caution. Caution is suspicion. It'd be easier to list stuff I'm not suspicious of. I'm not suspicious of sound and colour. Mechanics and chemistry also have a trueness about them. Most anything else deceives. Wants to steal your life away.
This is a good, dangerous line of questioning. You should prod him on.
I don't have a top 10 list of things I'm most suspicious of, but if I had one, the left-right complex would be number 1. Number 2 would be their sole accomplishment, the pig-wheat paradigm.
Something is off here. You feel like it should be the other way around.
No, politics is an inert complex of daily corruption and inane think pieces. The real paradigm is economic, and it concerns pig and wheat. This is where the innovation happens. It's only a theory. I suspect they're breeding a pig-wheat hybrid. Probably in Grad. It's our only shit. We should make better use of not being animals or cereal grain ourselves. Yes, having food is means to an end, but the left never talks about the end, only the means. Caps are likewise suckers, constantly sleepless in worry. I prefer not to. Both ask the wrong questions. Any spark of light from either one is accidental. Their combined movement's only concern is producing enough pig and wheat for everyone. The end goal of humanity. The original mistake was assuming that words have more being than bodies. That's what led us astray, far from our true lives, but we may yet find a way back.
Whatever this true life is, you feel it's the real centerpiece of this mythology.
Mental illness is a term that powers use to homogenise people. I think I don't reach mental illness. I am merely politically ill, a suspicious element.
His eyes flicker.
But life is true if it's free from fear, an internal division among oneself. And others, mankind has seeds of greatness in it. A germinal will come, a return to trueness. It will be hardcore. Beats and bright lights to shatter falsehoods. Nerve impulses for the collective body. We are very much alike in basic structure. An hard enough beat would awaken everyone to a truer calling. In unity.
Just like that. The speed freak is right in your face. His eyes burning. His comrades look on worriedly. The young man is dead serious about this. Rejection of the right-left axis. Emphasis on unity. Appreciation of some primordial mode of being. What does that remind you of?
Nationalism, militarism, racism, an emphasis on a leader character are totally absent in hardcore. If some want to lead and others want to be led, I think they are welcome to it. Many non-Occidental cultures share a beat at their heart. Thus, they are closer to true hardcore life. There's just never been enough of them, and they had to rely on some extremely basic percussion.
Lord of the Western Plain, it is really happening right here. The migrants are contaminating our youth.
Enough now, Noid. You have had enough fun bothering our guests with your crazy theories. Leave him alone.
Yo, man, what's on your mind? They're hardcore. They're just clothes. It's just a style, you know, normal hard style. Anyone can wear it.
Dedicated, hyperactive, unified. You'll have to add something of your own to understand this list of loosely formed qualities called hardcore. You need your own entry. Make it. This is for your posse. They got to keep it up. They got to move. You are the major mic enforcer. Jumping around, as this sort of music requires, is actually a taxing physical activity and should be dignified with a sports suit. Predictable, but solid.
Dead body, spirit entered. What is sure?
The mother of
Yes, what is it? Yes, what is it?
Close your eyes. Unfold your mental map of Martinez. It's morning. You're standing on the plaza before the whirling in rags. You turn around. The morning sun is blinding. You bring your hand to your brow, and a great shadow materializes before you. A towering beast, frozen in mid-air.
The dead king and his horse. It could work.
It may work, you think, but why do you feel like there may be a terrible cost?
We'll need an adequate power supply and a great quantity of cable. If we connect the cables to some of the stranded lorries, we could theoretically increase the antenna's wavelength. It's completely ridiculous, but I believe we could transform the entire roundabout into one solid fractal antenna.
A note of awe in her voice. She's shocked and pleased by her own audacity.
Very well. I will get straight to the point then. I have plenty of cables and amplifiers on hand. The power supply I will secure on my own. All we require now is the radio transceiver itself. I cannot answer that for you, but I don't expect it to be that difficult. There's no shortage of radios around here. If you have real to spare, you might even be able to buy one. But it doesn't really matter where it comes from, so long as it works.
And before you ask, no, you can't have the radio from my kinema.
Absolutely not. My reign prefect is my livelihood. If something were to go wrong, it would be a disaster. Certainly, though it requires a fair amount of technical finesse to remove them. Frankly, it's not worth the bother. Just find a regular radio.
I highly doubt that. When I crank the volume on my dyno wave, it's like you're in the front row at the National Concert Hall.
There is no need to go out of your way to find a top-shelf radio for this purpose. As long as it's functional, that is what counts. That sounds like a perfectly adequate radio. In the meantime, I will gather the rest of the materials. We will meet back.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
A lorry, the smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. There's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lower side of the seat where the toolbox should be. It takes a few moments, but eventually the transceiver slides from its greased socket mount with an eminently satisfying chin. As you take the transceiver in your hands, the lieutenant bites his lower lip, apparently deep in thought.
Funny, isn't it? The lady driver used this same radio to evade coalition authorities, and now you are using it to contact them directly. It's just ironic, that's all.
Where the radio used to be, there's just a rectangular shadow now. It's about the size of a small box of pasta, but much heavier. Now that you're looking at it more closely, you realize the various dials and meters make it look vaguely like a face. A distinctive triangular logo forms the nose, not just any face. It reminds you of the grotesque carvings sometimes found in prehistoric caves.
To be perfectly frank, I have my reservations about this whole antenna scheme, but who knows? We may yet be surprised. An Esteras is certainly nothing to sniff at, but if you compare the feature sets, I would say they are more or less equivalent. So it would appear.
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. You close the rusty old...
Yes, what is it? Ah, very good. Let's see what you have. Interesting. An Esterhaus EH4, heavily customized. This is an advanced model, highly capable. I'll need to replace the frequency dial, but it should certainly work for our purposes. I believe that means we're ready to get started. I should warn you, once we begin setting up this antenna, we'll need to see the whole process through. There won't be any second chances. Any do. So if there's anything you'd like to get in order before we depart, I suggest you do it now. Ah, yes. I wasn't sure what to do about that, but then I discovered an abandoned power source down by the edge of the bay.
It's obvious. She's referring to your half-sunken Caprice 40.
Oh, yes. I did notice that it was covered in police livery. Then you already know that the carriage itself is irreparable, but the rear-mounted engine seems to be in fine working order. My intention is to run a power cable from the engine up to the antenna. It won't last forever, but it should give us enough time to establish a connection with Coalition warship Archer. That's up to you. At a minimum, I would make sure you are physically and mentally prepared for an intense and difficult process. Once we begin, there can be no interruptions. Radio engineers typically carry overpriced solvent sprays to clean the antenna connections. But in a pinch, some common ammonia works just fine. Finally, there's the question of stimulants. Some people prefer to keep legal amphetamines on hand to help with their work. I'm not one of them, but they do exist. It is possible that technical fields attract a certain kind of personality. I haven't given it much thought. Very good. If you'll help me with some of this equipment then.
Back across the water then. At least we are getting our exercise in today.
If you'll please carry that amplifier, officer, and if you'll take that spool of cable, we should be able to move it all in one trip. And now if you'll just connect that here...
It's done. I believe we are ready.
We're ready to try at least. Please put on these headphones. There should be 2 extra sets. I've configured the channels so that only your microphone is set to broadcast, officer. We'll all be able to listen, but anyone we reach will only hear your voice. You will need to transmit your connection request while I attempt to locate the warship's public frequency. You will likely encounter some interference, but it's important to keep transmitting your request until you're acknowledged. Ready? Then it will be exactly like every other moment of every other day. I ask again, are you ready? Good. Beginning transmission. Go ahead, officer.
You're all alone out there, wandering a blasted heath, calling out to the night. But there is no reply, except for the buzzing of invisible machines. The lieutenant looks up at you with a nervous glance. Nervous for who, though, you cannot say.
Try again, officer.
Nein, Liebling. Unseren Jungen nach Redeposten. Einem dieser Dinger. Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oskar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist. Natürlich halten wir die Psychologen für vollkommen normal. Aber sie hat das Gefühl, seit seiner Rückkehr mit einem Fremden zusammenzuleben.
You can't make out a word of this gibberish.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind. Er kann auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen.
It isn't gibberish, it's Valde. Now please keep trying. Again?
It's gone now.
Mention what? I didn't say anything, Detective.
Someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
An uncomfortable silence falls over the connection.
It's been a long winter. Long and cold.
I promise you I didn't. even though it certainly sounds like me.
I can't say with certainty, but it sounds very much like entroponetic crosstalk. It happens sometimes when sending transmissions across long stretches of pale.
Ah, yes, of course. It must be it.
Natürlich halten ihn die Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
There won't be any later. This is our chance. Now please keep going.
But someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Sunset, please acknowledge.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind.
Where's she parted? Please identify.
The signals are getting increasingly mixed. Plucking Archer's signal from this will be like isolating a single strand from a tangle of hair.
It's not working. The crosstalk is simply too strong. I did not expect simply locating the signal to be so difficult. We must consider several variables. Local entroponetic conditions, the sophistication of our transceiver, the quality of our connections, and the physics of our antenna itself. Fortunately, we have a more than adequate transceiver, so I do not believe it is causing any problems. And we're also unlikely to change our local entroponetic conditions. So, the next step is to thoroughly inspect our connections. You need to climb up there and look at them for yourself.
But you don't have the technical expertise.
Someone has been maintaining it.
Something about this setup seems dimly familiar, but you'll be damned if you know what you're supposed to do about it. Images of your body smashed against the pavement flood your mind. This is dangerous.
That's true, but I can't leave my station, so it will have to be you. Then you might break your neck.
Your gloves give you a solid grip on the metal bar. This feels pleasingly familiar. You don't exactly cut a lithesome figure, but after several moments of scrambling, you manage to hoist yourself atop the monument. That performance was frankly an embarrassment.
You're doing all right, Detective. Just keep your focus on the task at hand.
The connection itself is nothing more than a little braid of exposed wire wrapped about the hoof of the horse. A copper fetter it cannot slip. The whole monument is covered in a thin but durable layer of oil and grime. It's obvious no one has cleaned it in years. The programmer mentioned ammonia, but anything alcoholic should dissolve the oils, creating a cleaner and clearer connection. It takes a few moments, but the alcohol gradually begins to break down the oils surrounding the copper wiring.
Is this really the time, Detective?
It's all right, Lieutenant. He's simply cleaning the connections.
Once the oils have been dissolved, you wipe off the connections with your sleeve and reattach the cable.
It seems to have made some difference, but unfortunately not enough to alter the overall situation. Unser einziges Kind. Er kann auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen. short of changing the shape of the antenna, I'm not sure what else we can do from here. And the lorries are all jammed together, so that's unlikely to happen. Ideally, narrow the receiving mode so that we can isolate the warship signal and eliminate the crosstalk. And if you don't know what you're doing, of course you could just make it worse. What do you mean? You adjust the antenna manually, with your hand. I'm afraid we're out of alternatives. You're just going to have to go for it.
She's right. The responsibility is yours, and yours alone. There's no turning back now. You are face to face with Philip III. The Bronze King looks toward the west. Something about his features seems bizarrely distorted. Not intentionally. It's a matter of perspective. The king was never meant to be seen from such an angle as you've attained. This faithful steed is in nearly as poor a condition as its rider. The sky is opaque with dark clouds. Snow spirals all around you. You turn to the east, but the visibility is quite poor. You see no sign of Coalition warship Archer, though you know it can't be too far away. A few of the idle lorry drivers and strikebreakers gesture at you with their cigarettes, more out of curiosity than anything else. From the window of one of the adjacent apartment buildings, an older woman leans out, her heavy breasts sagging. She yells a single word you can't make out, and then shuts the window with a violent thunk. You allow the broken hunk of metal to clatter to the ground. It wasn't clear to you it did anything anyway.
Nein, Liebling! What are you doing? The connection is even worse now. This is extremely unprofessional. That is because you broke it. Things stop working when you break them. Or did you not know that?
She's right. This was your responsibility.
Damn it. I'm going to push the power supply. I doubt it will last more than a few minutes, so you'd better make them count.
A maelstrom of sound, swirling and swirling around an invisible point. It's mounting, mounting.
Nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist.
Officer Sunset, please respond.
It's too much. Your eardrums are throbbing, about to burst.
A long winter, long and cold.
And then, nothing.
Try it now.
This is Warship Archer. We are acknowledging and accepting you. Though we're still getting quite a bit of interference.
This is the best we can do. I suggest you get to your business quickly. I doubt I'll be able to maintain even this connection very long.
This is it. You're finally getting to speak with those who hold real power. And by that they mean the ones with the guns and the warships. There is so much you wish you could ask, but you probably only have time for 1 or 2 questions before the signal is lost.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public frequency. What is your request? Acknowledged. To reach the committee, all you need to do is fill out the appropriate request form and submit it to the Liaison for Public Affairs. If the liaison accepts your request, you will be invited to address the committee at their next quarterly public hearing. We believe the next...
This isn't about you. Not really. It may have been at a certain point, but you've let go of that perspective. This is about your responsibility to all of Revachon. Now, take a deep breath. Look upward. You don't have to bear the burden alone.
What? How do you know this? Officer, this is a very serious claim. Please describe the situation as succinctly as possible. We will forward your summary to the committee.
There's papers rustling in the background. She's clearing her desk, preparing to take notes. There, you've wedged your foot in the door. Now, if you could show the Coalition how much they're needed, they'll have no choice but to intervene. You have the facts. Just lay them out beneath the cold light of reason.
Please continue. We're listening. We have it. Is there anything else the committee should know?
Detective, before you answer that, I urge you to weigh your words extremely carefully.
We're afraid we must ask you to repeat that, Officer Sunset.
Afraid? What is she afraid of? Her tone has shifted. She's no longer herself.
Never mind that. All you need to do is repeat what you just said.
Do as she says. There's no other option.
Acknowledge. Listen very carefully, officer. We're going to ask you a series of questions. It is imperative that you answer as directly and truthfully as you can. Do you understand? Good. First question. Are you currently in the vicinity of Surrey, the North Arcade Islands, or near Pale Offshore Platform in Sulindico? Very good. Next question. Would you describe the phenomenon as internal to the Isola or external to the Isola?
What she means is, actually, you have no idea what those words could mean in this.
Next question. At the time, did you experience sense objects? Yes. Examples may include sound, memory, light. Let's go on. Final question. Were you alone?
Yes, unquestionably, irrevocably alone. Of course not. The radio programmer was there. You are part of a large family. You are never alone. There's no need to overthink this.
We repeat. Were you alone?
You hear the sound of a page ripping.
Thank you, officer. Please stand by while we transmit our summary.
A long winter.
I'm not sure how much longer I can keep the signal clear, officer.
Officer Sunset, this is Collision Warship Archer. Please acknowledge. Thank you for standing by. We are authorized to report the Committee of Responsibility for Rebasho has acknowledged and accepted your request. They would like you to address your matter to the committee directly, as their earliest convenience. Subito. Collision Shuttle Laurel is setting a course for your position. They will arrive momentarily. Stand by.
Snow again. It collects between the bronze horse's ears, along the bridge of the bronze king's nose, and on the backs of your gloves.
So? They're really coming?
The lieutenant adjusts his microphone and slowly looks up toward you.
Well, what now? You've accomplished your side task. You've contacted Coalition Warship Archer. I suppose what I'm asking is how much further you plan to take whatever this is. What options? What in God's name are you talking about, Detective? But you see, Detective, that feeling is simply an illusion caused by distance. Whether you choose to see it or not, the reality does not change.
The lieutenant takes a moment to compose his thoughts.
Detective, each of us has our part to play in the world. My part is to solve crimes. I am under no illusion that my role isn't a minor one in the scheme of things. But I embrace it because it's my role, and it's yours too, Detective, whether you accept it or not.
The lieutenant's final words are nearly swallowed by the roar of the aerostatic's main rotors.
Officer Sunset, this is Collision Warship Archer. We have been instructed to inform you that the Laurel arrived at your position. Please acknowledge.
No shit. How are they supposed to hear your acknowledgement over the thundering of their own rotors?
Thank you. The Committee of Responsibility for Rebel has authorized us to offer you an immediate extraction. Do you accept? We are far past that point, officer.
The roundabout, Martinez North, nighttime. Somehow, the streetlights only make the scene more lonely. You can hear someone retching in a nearby courtyard. The programmer eyes you curiously. She does not understand why you're hesitating. Whatever her misgivings about the Coalition, the fact is that you've summoned an aerostatic with your voice, an achievement she never thought she'd witness. The lieutenant isn't looking at you or at the massive aerostatic hovering less than 20 meters above him. He appears to be concentrating on the braid of cables running from the amplifier. He does not expect you to remain. And why should he? There is something, a whisper, circulating among the city's footnoted alleyways and along its electrical wires. But what it's saying, you can't tell. It seems to be a message meant for someone else.
Acknowledge. Laurel has initiated the extraction procedure. Stand by.
Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oscar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit auf einem Lufttypen zurückgekommen.
Weeks later, no answers about extracted cop. The condition and whereabouts of an RCM officer extracted by a Coalition aerostatic 2 weeks ago remain unknown. The dramatic maneuver witnessed by dozens near the North Roundabout has reportedly increased tensions between the citizens of Martinez, the RCM, and Coalition authorities. Early reports that the lieutenant was investigating entropinetic phenomena along the coast have not been confirmed. According to an official statement given by the RCM, the lieutenant was in Martinez as part of a murder investigation. A Coalition representative declined repeated requests for comment.